Hey you guys, this is Mara Sievers here, creator of Pilates Encyclopedia, and I just want to show you real quick how the Pilates Encyclopedia membership can help you with your verbal cueing. So I'm inside the library right now, and let's just take an example and let's look at a mat exercise, and maybe let's take a look at bent knee opening. So then basically what you would do if you feel like, oh, I'm struggling to teach this exercise, I just can't get across what I want to say. So you would just scroll down to starting position, right? So you can read all of the stuff that's above higher, but for the actual, just for the verbal cueing, if you start with a starting position, that's a great place to start. So basically, I really tried hard as I wrote all these descriptions in here to write it like you would say it. So you can really go ahead and practice it, maybe saying it out loud, reading out loud what's on the page here or on the screen, and that will help you get familiar with the words and what to say. So let's take an example. So I would basically just say, lie supine on your mat. If my student doesn't understand what supine is, obviously I would exchange that and say, lie on your back on the mat with your knees bent. I can say the 60 to 80 degrees, or I can skip it. Your feet are flat on the floor, about a fist width apart. Always wait a little bit after you say something like that so that they have a chance to do what you just told them to do. Your knees are pointing straight up to the ceiling, and your knees are also a fist width apart. And then stretch your arms alongside your body. Make sure you're looking straight up to the ceiling. There's always this short pause in between. So now that we've set them up, then I can go directly into the movement, and I would go right to breath and movement pattern and say, inhale, open one knee out to the side. Exhale, return the leg to center so that your knee points straight up to the ceiling again and your foot is flat on the mat. Let's repeat that on the other side. Inhale, and I'll just go back up here, right? Inhale into your back as you open the knee out to the side. Exhale to return the leg to center. And really, so when I included where to breathe, quite honestly, I would probably not do that on the second repetition. So basically on the second side, I would wait one more time. I kind of got ahead of myself. So again, inhale, open the knee to the side. Exhale, return the leg to center. So that they just get the general pattern of the movement. That's what we call the form of the exercise. All that they have to do is open the knee, close the knee, open the other knee, close the other knee. That's the most basic and fundamental and important stuff. If they don't have the basic movement, then we get overwhelmed and confused, right? Sometimes we want to throw in so many new cues and details, but watch too early that the client actually is more confused than we're helping. But let's say so they understand the pattern now. They know what they're doing. Then I can continue scrolling further down, and I can really specifically work on the alignment of a certain body part. So for instance, instead of opening your knee out to the side, I could substitute that and say, inhale and roll to the outer edge of the foot as you open the knee. And so now my student is thinking about something completely different. They're not thinking of the knee anymore. Now they're thinking of their foot and, oh, the outer edge of the foot, right? So it helps with their concentration and their focus, because you're telling them, you're guiding their thoughts and their awareness to a new body part. And then you could also say, keep the non-moving leg still. Okay, so now you're bringing the body, that's one of my favorite things. Anyway, now you're bringing the attention to the part that has to stabilize, which is often much more important than the part that's actually moving. So keep your spine neutral on all planes. This is maybe not something I would say. This is something I, as the instructor, know and watch. But melt your ribs down is a great cue I can use, right? Keep your tailbone heavy. imprint your back ribs on the mat. Like those are all the exact words, the exact lines that you can use to teach the exercise. Not all of them at once. Definitely not. We say not more than 3 cues, like new precise alignment cues per exercise, because everything else is just overwhelming. We can't teach everything in the very first class. But then, so again, just to explain, you have alignment cues for the lower extremities, for the torso and the pelvis, for the center of the body, and then the upper extremities. You have common mistakes, so you can think about, I like to use rhetorical questions. So I say, are you maybe lifting your ribs up when you inhale? And then the client thinks about, am I doing this? No, I'm not doing this, right? So it helps with awareness. Are you dropping the leg without control? Always keep that control. Okay, and then this is the progressions or regressions. That's maybe not so much for verbal cueing, but then we can go further down and have the imagery and even more verbal cues. So these are often verbal cues that are more general. They're not specific to a body part. Move with control and fluidity, for instance, right? Make sure your movement stays fluid, no jerky movements. Control the speed of the movement. Can you go a little bit slower? Slowing it down is always a great way to improve the movement quality. Smile across your chest from one collarbone to the other. It's a wonderful metaphor that not only puts a smile on your face, but that imagery is a great way to shortcut good movement, because many people don't understand anatomy, and even if they have an understanding of anatomy, they're often actually not able to feel and to create the change in the body that they maybe theoretically understand, but they don't have a usable ability to put what they know about anatomy into their body feeling wise. Those are sort of two different skills. Okay, so and then let's maybe just quickly head back to let's pick a reformer exercise. So again, I'm basically back in the library, and then let's head into the reformer, and then let's look at the roll down on the reformer. Many of you know that. So again, I'm gonna scroll down to the starting position, mounted starting position. So I would say, come and sit on the carriage and turn to face the back of the reformer where the risers and the ropes are. Make sure you leave about 3 inches or so of space behind you. Little break so they can do that. Place your feet on the headrest and your knees are bent. And then hold on to the short or the double loops and reach your arms forward with your elbows straight. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, push the carriage forward with your tailbone and your body will move back. Inhale and pause. Exhale, deepen your abdominal scoop and resist with your tailbone as you return back to the starting position. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, push the carriage forward with your tailbone. Inhale into your back as you pause. Exhale, deepen the scoop in the abdominals as you come back to the starting position. So I don't want to completely 100% copy and repeat the exact words that I said the first time. I usually use slight variation there in the words, but close enough so that it's not completely new, because otherwise the person might think it's something I want them to do something completely different, which is not, right? I just want to be not boring. And then so I talked them through 2 repetitions, right? And after the second repetition, it's usually okay to start to add maybe a little bit more detail. And then, so this is just alignment cue. That's not maybe something I would use, but push the carriage forward with your tailbone, or maintain the posterior tilt in your pelvis. Drop your ribs. Lead with your belly button. Pull your navel through your spine. So there's so many, as you can see, it's full and packed with verbal cues that you can totally steal. You should steal them, right? Copying is how we learn. We have to, I want you to use exactly these cues. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Over time, after years and years and years and years, maybe you come up with a new creative way to say things, but not in the beginning. It's not necessary. Here are some imagery cues. So I like this one. On the way up, let the straps pull you up and allow the carriage to push your hips back. Keep axial length while rounding your spine. So there's a lot more to see. So I hope that this is helpful in giving you ideas or making you understand and see how tremendously helpful the Pilates Encyclopedia library and membership can be for your verbal cueing in these days of basically the only option that we have available often, right, when we're teaching virtual classes is our words. So they're just much, much, much more important than ever before.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you'd like to see more cool information, head over to PilatesEncyclopedia.com. I'll see you next time.